Hello survivors and welcome to another episode of The Road. This episode is going to revolve around game economy, and that can be from gear, medals, tokens, coins, this sort of thing. However, first off we're going to look at the polls and a highlighted comment from the last video, which was a one-on-one conversation between Invisinerd and Darren from the Players Council. And if we can check it out, it says, do you feel communication has improved? And it's fairly close, but the majority of people are saying no, and that was the result of that poll. And the second poll was, do you spend on The Walking Dead Road to Survival, with the majority saying no, they are free to play. We do have a highlighted comment here from Dan Why So Serious, who is also a YouTuber here. If you want to go and check him out, that is his channel name. It is, I'd like to see more relevant rewards for solos and faction tournaments, 6-star gear, silver Ascendance Medals, S-Class collectibles, and also for them to look at what the players are in need of and give us a chance of acquiring it, as S-Class are taking a crazy amount of resources to level up. We neither have the gear or trainers to level them. Great vid as always. Now, funnily enough, that's a lot of the things we're going to be covering in this video today. And in this episode, I am joined once again by Invisinerd.
Hello, sir. Good to be here. Let's do this.
Let's do this indeed. Okay, we're going to be talking about game economy, and this is going to be surrounding obviously the different sort of tokens, the different things that we have to gain to spend, effectively currency, whether it be a gear. You know, gear is a currency effectively. You have to acquire it to spend it to upgrade your characters. I mean, in terms of just your daily grind, do you find yourself just constantly working towards a particular part of game economy right now? Is there something you particularly find hard? Just outline your basic thoughts in terms of what you find hard right now within the game economy.
For me, man, it's a daily grind, but I'm kind of that way in that I like the grind. I like showing up every day, doing what I do and benefiting from that. The hoard, if you will, you're hoarding things, right? Until it's time to spend a bunch of cans, until it's time to, blow all those coins that you've been saving from leveling up or however you got them. But I'd say coins probably number one thing that you want to get your hand on, especially if you want to gain the full advantage. But lately, it's been hard for me to level up. I've been, there's always a level up tournament, right? And you're trying so hard to level up now these giant S-class characters that require so much, and you need so much to do that. You need energy for recruits to get more survivors to use in the crunch as food, and it's even so minuscule now. But that's been the hardest part for me, especially now. I just got another. I just claimed Raulito, and that's the third S-class that I'm leveling up, and the gear crunch is real right now. So how the whole pie seems to work, how the whole flow chart goes, what you need to eventually maybe get that gear from the league store, the path leading up to that doesn't seem as hard as it is than it is to actually have it and keep it. There's a real shortage, I'd say.
Yeah, gear definitely seems to be an issue with myself. It seems to be an issue with everybody. I mean, some people aren't even leveling S-class characters yet, and they're complaining about gear issues. So I'm afraid that when you start leveling up those S-class characters, you're going to feel the real gear lock, because it's 5 times more gear to get an S-class leveled up than it is a 6-star. And then don't forget, you've got to do 2 6-stars to get that S-class in the first place. So it's tons. I think to get a maxed out S-class with veteran rings, it is 8 canteens and 8 GPS, which is crazy. If you think about it, that takes, I think it's 36,000 league tokens to get 1 of each, and then now you've got to get 8 of each, and you get what? How many? I get around about 8 to 10k league tokens a week from placement. I mean, there's so many parts of the game that just haven't really caught up with where the game's at in terms of what we need. So, we'll look at gear right now. The increased requirement of gear is insane. 5 times more gear required. There is no legendary gear map. This was talked about a long time ago, and it's never happened. And I think it's something that kind of needs to come in, maybe in the shape of the ones that happen on a weekly basis right now. Maybe you only can get 1 of each kind. You can't farm it, but at least you can actually do it. There needs to be some sort of regular inflow of gear that we know every week we spend a certain amount of energy. We're definitely going to get something back on it. I'd like to put this one to the viewers. Would you guys like to see a legendary gear map where we could get the top level gear on a weekly basis? It may not be huge amounts, but at least we have to have an inflow. Please do check the poll in the top right hand corner. And the gear crunch is obviously really a tough one. And you touched on something else in terms of, you've leveled up 2 Raulitos and you had to use twice as many Ascendance Medals to get a S-Class character than what you would have to get a maxed out 6-star, because you've obviously had to max out 2 6-stars to get that S-Class. So again, that's another currency that a lot of people are having issues with. They see complaints about it, especially people who just want to either enjoy other parts of the game. Some people do like ascending 3 stars to see what 4 stars they can get. Some people do like ascending 4 stars to try and get a particular ascendable or a particular 5-star that they like. But that makes it so they can't do that, because Ascendance Medals are a massive issue for a lot of people right now. There's been no increase in medal income, even though it takes twice the amount of medals to get an end game character now with the S-Class characters. Lots of missions are forcing you to use these medals as well. Weekly missions ascend 5 characters. I mean, is that actually, are they joking with that? That's an incredible mission to do on a weekly basis. Even though you can do it 3 stars quite easily, that's 50k. The income is not there to sort of replenish that. I think we had the same issue. I don't know if you remember back to when the 6-star era first came in. Gear was a massive issue then, and they did some really good gear events. Actually, it was pretty much a year ago, right? No, it would be 2 years ago actually now, when we had the first. I think it was Wyatt. It was the Christmas event, if you remember. We had Wyatt in the museum, we had Vincent in the museum, and they had gear surrounding them. Abraham as well, I believe. And there was those were pretty good gear events. I think they tried to replace that with League tokens and the League store, but we just don't get enough League tokens at the moment. So I'm just struggling in every situation to. I've got to spend my 8k a week League tokens on like 4 different things, and it just doesn't buy anything at the moment.
I'm with you on the shortage of Ascendance Medals. Now, I have not been ascending much. I actually took some time. I was just doing, Priya, Kapoor, and James, trying to focus on them. So I hadn't ascended much. And my 5 stars for 5-star arena, I used the last couple of level ups to kind of get through. So I had not ascended. I've got a bit of an abundant. I've got 3,000 Ascendance Medals, legendary Ascendance Medals right now, which is surprising. But again, I don't have the gear to get a character to that point. But there's definitely some issues there. And when it comes to the League store, I think it's a blessing. Absolutely. I have a lot of League tokens right now. So every week I go in and I kind of clear it out. And I've been lucky enough in that I've saved enough of these choice boxes. I didn't jump right into choosing them all. Because I'm just now coming up on my gear shortage, I'm able to go to some of those choice boxes and go, okay, here are those gauntlets that I needed, or whatever it is. So if you're a hoarder, like I know some people are, you're fine. But others, who aren't as lucky are really struggling right now. And is a lot to ask for, like you said. And it's just a constant a push to a drought of some kind.
Yeah.
And for me right now, it's definitely coins and gear, and it's hard. But the League store is good, but I don't have the coins to refresh it.
Yeah, the silver medals in Ascendance are the issue I run into. My legendary have always been pretty decent ever since it came in, because I farmed the initial event really heavily and got quite a lot of legendary medals there. But the silver ones, because you use silver, things that you use everywhere are always going to be an issue. Like, there's a tier of gear, I'm not sure what it is, but for Priya it's the briefcase, and you use it for like 4 or 5 different tiers between her 5, her 6, and an S class, and all together you use something in the region of, I think it's like 60 of them, and that's, you can farm them on the roadmap, fortunately. But it's just the amount of gear you need is just insane. If you use them across multiple tiers, it isn't just her that needs that as well. I have got other characters too. When you're talking about the League store, like you say, you've got a lot of tokens. Like, you are fortunate enough to have a lot of tokens. I've spent most of my tokens on gear, just heavily gone in on the gear. But I'm not even able to buy other stuff like, normal gear, the special gear for League characters. You've got to buy that as well. The new weapon parts. And then things like mods, old weapon parts if you need like tapes and that sort of thing, and then the horde cans, And then we're still only getting that 8,000 a week or whatever it is, 8 to 15,000 league tokens a week, depending on your placement. It just doesn't seem enough in terms of the weekly placement. Nothing's increased in terms of the amount of league tokens they give out since its inception, when the amount that we need out of the depot within the league store is much more. Like, you need much more out of that now than when it was originally released. So I think they need to bolster the rewards, especially in the weekly, maybe by like times 10, like 50 to 80k a week. I mean, that's like a GPS, a canteen, and like 3 other pieces of gear. I mean, that is going to make a reasonable dent, but it's not even going to be that big, if I'm honest.
Or increase the amount of gear that's available weekly in the league store.
Like, they definitely should do that as well. I mean,
double that, triple it.
I think they originally did. When it first came out, I think it was 6 of the basic gear and 1 GPS, 1 canteen, and then they doubled everything. But even that's not enough. Like, I think they did that before S-Class came out as well, because in the Generation 2 era, it wasn't enough. Now in S-Class, you need 5 times more gear. Like, I mean, I know they want you to coin, but you're not going to coin that really on a consistent basis, especially not 5 times. You might coin it once, but not 5 times, because you need, 60 pieces. You're not going to do that, are you?
No, the answer does not always have to be you could always buy coins, and it shouldn't be, especially in a game that, it is not exclusively pay to play, right? Like, you have a free to play game, make it actually available. We all shouldn't have to pay out so hard to keep up with the game that you've provided. I know that it'll come over time, and that's kind of the thing. It's a grind, but when you talk about those coins in the league store, there's definitely some changes that need to be made. And you're right. I might not even be there. I haven't dove in on 5-star weapons. I'm still researching a lot of stuff right now. I haven't purchased a lot. So I'm sure once I dive into that, I'm sure I'll deplete all those league tokens and be caught up in that crunch as well.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't really calculated the sort of league tokens I make on a weekly basis, but I'm losing out basically in terms of, like, I'm not buying things that are beneficial to my account because I can't afford it based on my gameplay, which is heavy. I play a lot, I didn't buy Horcans last week. I didn't buy all of the mods that I could have last week. I only bought like half the mods that I could last week. I didn't buy the lower level weapon parts. Like you said before, the energy crunch is pretty real as well. A lot of people are down on energy cans, so you can't burn your energy cans on those roadmaps when they come up to get the parts. You can't do it to get the gear as often. That one energy can suddenly is becoming quite a big deal, because you're not sure if the next event that comes out is going to drastically need energy cans again. So I mean, you don't really want to buy stuff for the sake of it, so you're really just contemplating the worth of an item, and it's like the potential worth of it rather than the current, like, the actual. I mean, I preferred it when I could just like drop an energy can because it was a good idea. Now I'm just like, will it actually stop me from getting the end reward of the next event? And that is a big potential on one of my regions.
I'm in the same boat. I definitely ran down to I don't like when I get into single digits on my, but it's, and you know what? I just had this thought as you were saying that it's an ecosystem in this game, right? And it feels broken right now because your natural energy you use to run the maps to get some gear, and sometimes you sell that gear for food to level up, or you sell whatever you got for materials to hopefully increase your town, and you can use sometimes these things to buy other things in the game and upgrade your characters, right? It's all an ecosystem, and it seems to be a little out of whack somewhere along the line, and I don't know what will bring it into balance, if that's what we're looking for, but I don't know if they really want to balance it.
I think they kind of have to, if they, more. This creates a massive amount of frustration within a community. Like you said it really early on in the beginning. You said this game is a grind, and you don't mind a grind, but to grind this hard 24/7 it'll get to the best of us. Like, I don't mind doing this for the odd event for 2 weeks if it's a good event, if the rewards are good. I mean, I've grind out events before because I thought it was worthwhile. Right now I'm just having to grind so heavily just for basic gameplay, which is really bad in my opinion. And there are people I see on a daily basis that are just like, this is becoming too much for me. There are people who, I mean, I'm not going to call them casual, but they're just not going to have as much time. This is not like, it shouldn't become a full-time job, As much as it can be, for some people they can put a lot of time into it. I don't even play that much time into the game in terms of like 24/7. I put more time into my YouTube side of things than I do into the game itself. But I don't know. I just think there's a better balance that they could come out with in terms of, like you say, the ecosystem seems broken in various parts of the game. Again, I'm going to put this to the audience. What part of the game do you think is the most urgent thing that needs to be improved when it comes to game economy? I mean, I think there are various improvements that they can make in so many parts of this. It would just be so easy to just say increase league tokens, increase Ascendance Medals, like just times by 5. Like whatever your value of an Ascendance Medal is right now, whatever your value of a league token is right now, you're overvaluing it. We need more of them because everything else is more expensive, basically.
And I want to talk about this in my upcoming episode, plug of the road, about leagues. I do like that they are rewarding coins for placement in leagues. I do like that you get coins in arenas now, or at least I have in the previous weeks. I didn't look to see, but I know that it had been in the Champions Arena, I believe. On the end of the week, there are coin rewards there. Are they there for you? Am I?
Yep. It's only for the top, like same in leagues. It's only for the top X percentage. Like it'll be like the top 20 out of the 60 or something like that. I can't really remember.
Right, and I know I want to talk about that in the next episode. Like, I'm a fan of that. I think it's great that they're giving people a way, encouragement, right, incentive to actually work on these things. At first you don't like arenas, and then you see there's choice boxes and right now 5-star parts, 5-star weapon parts and coins up there, and you go, okay, well, you just got to figure out how to do it. And once you get it down, you're in. I know for the first couple of weeks I wasn't there, I was figuring it out, and then you realize the benefit, not only there but in the league status when it comes to arena and things like that. And once you find the way that it all places, I think that's the reason too that things have slowed down as far as tournaments that used to pop every other day. Now they want us to focus more on the arena, and maybe that's where more of the economy is right now, more of the valuable economy at least.
But none of that is Ascendance Medals, none of that is gear. So it's not the stuff we do need. That's the issue. There are league tokens
I mean, they could change it,
but they could. I mean, they could change a lot of things. They could change the old depots. The depots for just basic stuff. Supply depot tokens actually could get you reasonable amounts of gear. There is a gear in there, but you can get like one piece, and it is quite expensive. Some of those, like we joked about it in the Survival Road edition, where I think one of the trainers was like 200k for a 4-star or something. Like, a lot of the stuff is very overvalued for what its usefulness in today's sort of like game. And you talked about it, I think you touched on it in terms of the characters to level up. It's just, you need so many characters to level up S-Class characters. You need so many of everything to, like, S-Class is just blown everything out of the water. And I think to a certain extent this is on purpose, because it was done in the 6-star era the same way, where people who were willing to spend will drop a lot of money to get their S-Class characters maxed out quickly, and everyone else has got to sort of suffer the pain in the meantime. And then eventually it will just sort of even out, and eventually they'll just start implementing things to make it better. But in the meantime, it's a struggle, and it's not fun, if I'm honest, and that's the issue. It's not fun. Some parts of the grind is good, but I'm not really enjoying, logging on to like, I can't really do much today. I can't, upgrade this character that I need to do. Like, I can't upgrade a certain character just to a basic mission, It's just,
Yeah, it is. I liked someone, I think it was Darren said, it is not an enjoyable experience for the player, and it's hard. And as I'm looking, I just looked at the Champions Arena for this week, and it does look like the top spot gets a big bonus to league tokens and gets coins. So maybe that's a way, you know what I mean? They're going to throw down more valuable currency there in arenas. I'm just looking at the Champions Arena right now, and you had mentioned maybe they need to give more league tokens. It does look like they have an abundance, 12,000 for first place, but of course you gotta go crazy spending to get there, and it doesn't necessarily balance out. But maybe they could change. It looks like they've got 5-star weapon parts in this one. Maybe they could do a week of Ascendance Medal focus, or maybe they could do a week of bonus double coins, or that's another way to inject more economy. Maybe it's not just arena, maybe it's a war that has a focus on, usually I think get Ascendance Medals in some of these tournaments, but it definitely needs to be amped up.
Yeah, I mean, even the Ascendance roadmap hasn't improved since S-Class has come out. I don't think it was great. Energy, I think the maximum you got out of it, I think they did add legendary medals, which is great, and they added a second tier, but you can't get enough to ascend a character in a week. It costs a lot of energy. You're needing to use that energy elsewhere at the same time. You know, you've got those daily roadmaps for, you know, every time I log on in the morning, it's like I'm doing the same two roadmaps. I'm doing the S-Class roadmap and I'm doing the Gold Bars roadmap, and I'm down to like 40 energy at that point. So, you know, if you're a new player, you don't even have that sort of energy. I don't know. It's just difficult. It's not really good. There's not much balance there, in my opinion. Yeah, but when you said about arenas, you get 12,000 for first place. You said, right?
12,000 league tokens is what I'm seeing, at least in my arena.
That's not even enough to get one GPS or canteen, and you need 16. You need 8 GPS and 8 canteens to get an S-Class character maxed out. Like, that's an obvious issue right there, right? I mean, I know we do get choice boxes from time to time that actually have GPS and canteens in them, and those are like gold dust. Like, if you get those, you're really, really like. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem balanced. I mean, in terms of, let's just go through the different ones we just talked about. We talked about gear, we talked about Ascendance Medals, we talked about coins, and we talked about league tokens. In terms of like simple ways that they could improve Varus, like just very quickly, simple things you think they could do to improve, like the gear situation. Like I said earlier on about a legendary roadmap, which it's been talked about by a lot of people for a long time. What do you think about something like that?
I think that would be huge, because we already have the ultra rare rip maps that pop once a week. Like, throw that up with another one, with this XP map that's up right now as we're recording this. Throw down a legendary. And I did see that on the forums, one of the members of the player council had passed along some of the notes that they had sent along to Scopely and said that they had pushed that, again, a legendary map, I think is great for gear. Also, your Ascendance roadmap, throw another difficulty on there. Everything could get a whole nother difficulty, and that could solve this problem. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, when you throw down that gear map, throw down a legendary Act 3 or whatever. You know what I mean? I think that could be huge. That could be a big way to fix things. If they're putting out new survival road difficulty levels and all that kind of stuff, like just the whole game, you know?
Pretty much. And I don't think it would be that hard, you know. So another question for the audience, please check the poll in the top right hand corner. Would you guys prefer old things to be improved or have new things added that give more rewards? What about you just touched on this Ascendance Medals. They could probably just increase the multipliers of where they already put Ascendance Medals and just times it by a certain amount, you know. Instead of it being 50k, make it 100k. Instead of it being 5k on the roadmaps, make it, 10k. Instead of it being 9k in our daily missions, make it like 20k. Like, just increase it, because we need a lot more. Like, that, even that isn't enough, but just make it more. Same with league tokens, talked about that before. They could just probably increase the weekly one to at least be 1 canteen or GPS if you're coming in the top 10, At least 1 when you're needing 16. What about coins? Have you got any ideas when it comes to coins in terms of things that it could do in terms of increasing coin income, making it a bit more, I don't know, just something, any ideas?
Do you guys have the option right now for videos to watch? I know that some places have and some haven't.
I didn't for a very long time, for about 4 or 5 months, but I have now. But it was mainly because of some European thing that came in that has been fixed.
Do you watch them now? Do you make that a part of your routine?
Oh yeah, you have to. I mean, even though it's 90 coins, I still do. When I try to do every day.
Okay, that's I don't do that. Just simply, if it's running on the side and I can, like I'm at work, I can just leave it off to the side and I can tap, maybe get some more that way. But I don't do it as much as I should. So maybe that's why I'm at this big coin shortage, or why I'm not as advanced in other places. But I always thought like it would be a way, and I know there are other games that offer a way to get more currency. I thought about a gold mine at some point, like you level it up and it can give you a certain, even if it's like 2 or 3 coins every 5 hours or something, it would do something. It would make us feel like there's a little bit of something there. Again, I can't. There are so many games that are just like, turn this game on. It's called be away from keyboard and win. Like, why don't you just have a way to like AFK grind something? Maybe you throw a team in and walkers keep coming and you find resources there for 100%. as many waves as you could get down.
I mean,
again, I like the idea that it's in arenas and that it's in leagues to get more coins, but another way to get coins for players is, I think, necessary too.
Yeah, I mean, you said about the gold mine. We play some other games, and there are, things like that in other games. Only issue there is you could potentially have your gold mine running in 10 different regions, and then you'd have 10 different regions getting gold or coins.
Oh yeah, that's right. Coins are account wide.
But that plays into an idea I've had, and this would work with this. Instead of it being a gold mine or a coin mine, like let's say a gold coin mine, we could introduce regional coins, which are silver coins. So gold coins are either bought or maybe a part of, maybe just gold coins are only bought, and then silver coins are earned regionally. And then they could bring back silver coins or bring back coins in every single position in leagues. Because I know a big issue they had was the fact that you could do it in multiple regions and stuff, and not with leagues, but with like arenas and stuff like that. So you could have regional coins, and then you could have like a regional silver coin mine, and that would work because you couldn't farm it in multiple regions and gain it all into one. I think there's definitely, they just need to come up with good ideas, and listen to players. Maybe some players do have good ideas. They've got the player council there. It is a very small bunch of people. It's only like less than 10, I think, or it might be at 10 now. So they're not going to come up with all the ideas, but there are a bunch of people who do, and I'm sure they do pass on some of the ideas. So right now, I think there's various things they can improve.
I like the idea that you'd said about a region currency. I can't come over to the UK with my American dollars and go here. So it's just like that, right? Like you keep it in spots, or a faction situation where it's, I don't know if they could do some sort of group account that everyone could pull from. Or if you do, like you said, the regional silver, you get 1 million and it gets you, I don't know, 100 coins or something. You could do something like that. But again, that's probably a problem across multiple regions through your account. I think that's a great idea to bring in another kind of currency. But man, there's so many. Like I still don't even know where to find basic coins, and that's what I've been using to try and upgrade some of these higher end characters. Is I'll just wail on, pull 10 of my basic coins. At some point, I'm going to run out. Maybe that's the currency they need to increase so that we can get better 3 and 4 stars and better weapons.
Oh no,
to crouch down.
We don't endorse the increasement of basic tokens, guys. Sorry. There was a lot of people complaining that about basic tokens at one point. But they're much more improved now. I don't know.
I'm pulling on that wheel every level up, instead of leveling my S class with 2 stars, I'm using the excess. Like I've got 17 3-star Carls that I'm using on it, and it's just a little bit better. So it may not be ideal, but hey, you got to break down a wall here if you're going to be an innovator.
Well, also we're in a crunch right now, so you've got to use other means, and that's a decent idea. But there's definitely things they still need to improve, and they definitely do need to improve things in terms of the game economy right now. I don't mind it being an issue in one area, but it's an issue pretty much across the board, and that's the issue that a lot of people are facing. You might have, like you right now, league tokens is not too much of a deal, but it's going to be an issue pretty much everywhere else, right? Whereas for me, I'm kind of okay with coins, but I'm not spending those coins. But everywhere else is a big issue. So I don't know. There's definitely things they can do. I think that is going to be the end of this episode. However, so I do thank you for joining me in Vizina. Is there anything else you want to finish things off with saying?
No, thanks for doing this. This is a fun series, and I hope if everybody is just catching like this episode randomly, they catch up on all the other episodes that they may have missed.
Yep, indeed. This is episode 6, so you've got a few episodes, tons of, I think it's going to be, like 3 or 4 hours of listening now, so these have been pretty fun so far.
Just in time for everybody to get on the road and be driving for the holidays. What a listen.
Okay, so that's going to be the end of this edition of The Road. Please go back and check out the old editions if you missed out. And do check out Invisina's channel, where the next episode will be landing in the next couple of weeks. Thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.